The Natalie Wood mystery has haunted Hollywood for more than 4 decades, and even today, the chilling questions surrounding her final night refuse to fade away. Natalie Wood wasn't just a beloved actress. She was an icon whose life embodied the golden era of cinema. So when she died on November 29, 1981, after disappearing from the yacht she shared with her husband Robert Wagner, her passing shook America to its core. At first, the tragedy was labeled an accidental drowning, a heartbreaking but seemingly straightforward conclusion. But as years passed and new testimonies surfaced, the story of what happened that night grew darker, more complicated, and more disturbing than anyone expected. The mystery was reopened in 2011, and investigators began reassessing evidence, interviewing witnesses, and re-examining Wagner's involvement. What they found wasn't definitive proof of foul play, but it certainly cast a long shadow over the official story. Crew members described explosive arguments between Wood and Wagner, tensions fueled by jealousy, alcohol, and long-simmering marital issues. Christopher Walken, who was on the boat that night, remained eerily silent, insisting he knew nothing more than what had been publicly stated. But the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern, eventually changed his story, claiming he had been pressured to stay quiet and that the couple's fight had escalated to something far more dangerous. According to Davern, Wagner's jealous rage over Wood's close friendship with Walken may have played a devastating role in what happened in those final moments. He claimed that Wood's calls for help were ignored and that Wagner delayed contacting authorities, a delay that could have cost her life. Forensic experts later argued that some of her bruises were inconsistent with a simple fall into the water, raising even more unsettling questions. In 2018, investigators officially named Robert Wagner a person of interest, stating that his explanations simply did not match the new evidence. While they never filed charges, their findings indicated that the original narrative of a tragic accident might have been far too convenient. The re-examination didn't lead to a definitive answer, but it did point to a grim possibility that Natalie Wood's death may not have been a simple misstep on a dark night, but the result of an explosive argument turned catastrophic. Family members have struggled for decades with the lack of closure. Wood's sister, Lana, continues to fight for answers, convinced that important details were ignored or intentionally covered up. Natalie's daughter, on the other hand, has remained loyal to Wagner, refusing to believe he had any role in her mother's death. Hollywood, too, remains divided, torn between protecting one of its long-standing stars and acknowledging the increasingly disturbing evidence. The renewed investigation didn't provide the final, clear truth that so many hoped for, but it did finally validate the suspicion that Natalie Wood's tragic end was far more complicated, far more haunting, and far more unsettling than the world was first told. In the end, the mystery wasn't solved in a way that brought peace. Instead, it confirmed the darkest fear of all, that the truth of that night may have been buried along with Natalie, leaving behind a legacy of pain, unanswered questions, and a chilling sense that justice was never fully served.